G'day, guys, and welcome back to another Thursday night live stream. Thank you for joining us. As always, it's good to have you here. So, before we start, hit that subscribe button. And you know what to do. Give it the thumbs up. Whoops, sorry, I've got a bit of feedback from someone here. Yes, definitely. Hang on, I'm all muted. Somehow I'm getting feedback from someone. So, thanks for joining us once again, and yeah, definitely hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Find Jason and me on all social networking platforms. We're on Parler, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, you can find Jason on YouTube and his podcast on iTunes as well. So it's been a really good week this week. No, not too much bad news in the shooting community, but we will talk about a couple of stories before we hit today's topics. I'll bring Jason in right now. G'day, Jason.
What's happening?
Getting a bit of feedback here. Must have been your computer.
Can you still hear it now? Is all good?
No, it's all gone. All gone.
Anyway, what's happening, people? Good to be back for another episode. These just come around way too quick. Feels like I'm doing one every night now.
Yeah, exactly. It's a highlight of your week, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Seeing your face staring back at me for, an hour and a half, man. It's what I live for, It makes you feel good. Not really.
It's not like you have anything good to do anyway. Stuck down in Sydney. Nothing to do down there.
Exactly.
But, it's good to see some of the usual suspects back and some new people I haven't seen before. Some people like Matt and looks like Bagara's got a new logo. Our good old friend Bagara. And we'll talk about your Bagara soon, the one that you haven't shot actually.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to get that out in about. I don't know if I should go to the range first. I'm thinking I might go to the range and do a bit of checks on a couple of these rifles before I go away for the 7mm and the 300. I've had it for 5 months and I haven't shot the bloody thing yet. But I live in the city. It's hard to get to the range sometimes with all the COVID restrictions. They've got so many people can go on the range. So, but yeah.
Yep, I'll definitely be taking that to give it a bit of a going over first, that's for sure, and sighting it all in to make sure it's working right. And instead of wasting your time when you go out on the hunting trip.
Yeah, I think I might do that. I might just put some loads through it, take a bit of, go to the range, maybe put 3 loads through it, see what it does, and then, maybe do a bit of reloading, have them all there set up, ready to go. So then I've just got to charge the cases, put some more in, and then put them over the chronograph to see if they work, and then pretty much should be good to go. But, man, I was still blown away by those 143 grain ELDX on a couple of those rabbit videos that I made. Just explosive expansion from those 143s. So I was thinking about going back to the 140s, but I don't know if I will now. We'll see. Maybe on the next barrel. But I'd love to see. I might even do a bit of research to see what the match bullets are doing to varmints at those sort of, short to medium to long distances. Whether, don't want to be a morbid bastard, but, when you're sort of filming for YouTube and that, you like a bit of action when you're shooting them, not just sort of bang flop, you want to see a bit of good, honest kills. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, a bit of a paddock pizza, that's for sure. That's what I watch your videos for the hunting ones.
Yeah.
I find hunting videos boring when you just see them fall over. It's like, oh, yeah. No, it doesn't really interest me that much, but, I want to see full carnage myself.
I've got one coming out. I'm going to put it out in about a week because I've got that many rabbit footage that I've got, like from the hits. I just thought some people love the story part of it and other people just love the shooting. So I've I'm working on the second one. I've already got one uploaded because you've got to fight with YouTube for monetization. So you've got to try and, I won't say get around, but you change the the names and the photos and that. So eventually I surprisingly got all the last 10 videos monetized. So even though the small amount we do get, a couple of bucks here, a couple of bucks there makes a difference. So I got that monetized. So I've got one coming out, I think on the 1st of October, which is just like 25 kills in 2 minutes. So I've got that one. Then I've got another one I've got to do, which probably be another 20 kills. I've got about 80 kills all up. But so I'm just going to put them into a quick 1 to 2 minute video shooting. So if people don't like the story and the longer format, that's fine. They can watch the quick sort of stuff. So that way I get sort of double the videos out of it and caters for 2 different types of people if you don't want to watch the longer stuff.
Yep. I prefer just the quicker stuff myself rather than a lot of talking sort of stuff. But yeah, it is interesting, your videos, that's for sure. But yeah, I just like the quick carnage sort of videos to me. That's what I really like. But I got out this week. We'll talk a bit more about it soon. But I've been doing more load development and figured a couple of things out on that PRC 6.5. So if you're following me on Instagram or Facebook, you would have seen the photos this week of it. So we will talk a bit more about that because it comes into tonight's topic as well of the reloading. But something we've started doing each week is we pick a story each, Jason and me, and we give it a quick talk because that's what you guys said you like. You like hearing our no bullshit, unfiltered comments on a couple of gun-related stories that's happened in the media this week. So the one that I've picked out this week is here in Ipswich. A young teen girl was shot with a bow. Some nutcase. He started shooting during the day at people, a runner and missed, and a family in a car. And then he walked into an Aldi shopping centre and shot a poor teenage girl in the head and in the hand, I believe. And the only thing that saved her life was it hit her cell phone. So she was injured, unfortunately, and they apprehended the guy, and he was a complete nutcase, apparently. There's photos of him on the internet holding a bow, and the media dig up the usual stuff. But, yep, they got him finally, and he's up on attempted murder charges. So, yep. And here we said the only thing they haven't banned or made hard for people to get are bows. And I'm just wondering, because of this, what are they going to do? Are they going to try and change the laws here in Australia to bring in bow hunting, bows, as you got to get a license for them?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man, to find out, what happens with that. I mean, they're always trying to take our rights off us, never give us anything back, as we know, which is pretty sad, but we've been speaking a lot about that. But yeah, the bow hunters, they're good people too, but I guess, the complacency, not of bow hunters in general, but just to think that, some sort of license is not going to come sometime down the track. We need to, probably be doing stuff now to stop that occurring. Why do we need some sort of license to, shoot a bow like at a club or to go hunting with? I mean, I think it's stupid, but, we need to get proactive on that so that doesn't happen. And I think the organisations that are pro bow hunting need to get on top of that pretty quickly so it doesn't happen.
Yeah, but definitely I was thinking, are they going to try and lump it in with the crossbow, the category, whatever, M? For miscellaneous or whatever, they're going to try and dump bows into that. That's something I'm thinking about. But nothing's been said, but you don't know what these people are talking behind the scenes are and basically what organisations are going to be helping them with this if they do decide to do something along these lines. Because it's election year, especially here in Queensland where this happened. And there's nothing like keeping a big, fat, dirty paycheck and being a worthless politician by banning something for public safety.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's I don't know, mate. It's every time I turn around, there seems to be some type of ban or just somewhere where we're getting screwed. I think the National Shooting Council put one out the other day about they're looking at 2 more bans they're hearing in Western Australia. So it's just getting worse and worse for our brethren over in Western Australia. Ban after ban after ban. I mean, what's that? Shit, that's 10 guns now, I think, roughly thereabouts, maybe me and Aaron were talking about this during the COVID restrictions, and we said they'd come after us afterwards for whatever reason they wanted to. And, we've again, just found to have told the truth again. And I hate to say it's come true, but yeah, it's come true again, which is quite sad. Luckily someone's fighting for us. NSC, at least they're trying, mate, compared to some of the other organisations. Like if you checked into last week's stream about Victorians trying to take away, people's gun licenses over COVID breaches, not good. Thankfully, that's been knocked on the head to some degree. They've given a few of the people their gun licenses back, which is good. Saves them having to go to court because they knew it was a bit stupid taking gun licenses off at some COVID breach, which is not even an excludable offence. So from owning a firearm, but you know what? Hey, you got shooters out there loving Daniel Andrews. I'm on a one today. Daniel Andrews is the best. Stay at home, wear your mask. This is coming from shooters. I mean, fuck, you just can't teach retard, man. Honestly, you really just can't.
No, yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to be opening our borders this week because old Parler here, the Queensland Premier, is copping an absolute flogging in the media. About her being just cold-hearted, an absolute cold-hearted bitch. So they're opening our borders to a few areas in New South Wales. So there could be luck for you, Jace, at Christmas time for us doing a bit of shooting and hunting up here in Queensland.
Yeah, coming up and hanging out in Hickville. Nice. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, giving me food poisoning again.
Yeah, we did too. We had a bit of KFC, I think, and mate, we were paying for it for a couple of days. Man, my ass was literally on fire for about 4 days, man. Man, especially when it's hot and you're trying to go shooting, mate. Worst combination you could possibly think of. Having to go to the toilet all the time.
Exactly. So, what article have you found this week that you want to talk about?
This one's not shooting related, but this goes back. It's somewhat shooting related, and people get a bit upset when we've seen what's happening in Victoria with the Victorian police. You only got to go on YouTube and look at last week's stream. I won't go into all that. If you're interested, go watch last week's stream. So these, I just want to say, these are the people that are looking after your firearms registration. So this is a big one. This is the former Victorian Police Sergeant Rosa Rossi, jailed for claiming vacant houses in property scam. So remember these guys. These are guys that have got access to your firearms information. A disgraced police officer has become the first female from the force to be jailed in Victoria, because we all know they always sweep it under the carpet. For whatever reason, there's always a reason why they did something wrong, and get away with it. She was caught by using obscure laws to effectively steal people's properties or houses to boost her bogus property portfolio. She was sentenced to 4 years in jail, 4 years and 6 months in jail over an elaborate scam which orchestrated using manuals she found on the internet. She would pick empty homes and claim them under the laws of adverse possession and legal principle, which sometimes is described as squatters' rights. So basically the key points here is she claimed 6 vacant properties. So imagine if you owned an investment property and this clown use some special law to steal your property from underneath you without compensation to add to her portfolio. Just fucking unbelievable, right? The properties were worth total of $2.6 million. The property owner, she said, was included a woman who had moved interstate to care for her sick son, and a man living in South Africa who inherited a property from his father. So it must have been like an Australian or living in Australia. Guess what? She will have to serve 2 years and 4 months in jail before being eligible for parole. So it's not really 4.5 years. It's 2.5 years, basically, for stealing $2.6 million worth of property. If that was me or you, we'd be screwed. But again, the whole point of this, again, is there's too many bad eggs. They're not doing their due diligence in making sure these police officers have been vetted, making sure they're doing regularly updates on mental health and these sort of things to make sure these police officers are actually, doing their jobs properly and can continue to do their jobs properly. That's what I think needs to happen in the force. There's too many of this, working for government. Once they get in, well, it's a cushy job for the next 40 years. Well, no, there needs to be updates. There needs to be, and if you're not cutting the mustard, you're out. Simple as that. I just don't know why this is so difficult to understand. Or they undergo significant retraining, one or the other. I mean, for 2.5 years for stealing $2.6 million worth of people's properties from right under their noses, and thought she could get away with it. And this is a police officer from Victorian Police and a senior police sergeant, we might add. So not your average, beat cop or foot soldier. This is someone that's obviously worked their way up and was in the force for many years. So very sad indeed, mate. So my point is, these are the people that are managing your firearms registration, have got your access to your very, very private information of what you got and where you store it.
Yes, exactly. I've always said that the police officers should have a fitness test every week because too many of them, especially the hierarchy, are starting to look like Chief Wiggum from The Simpsons. And they should have a full psych test every year. So a fitness and a psych test every single year to keep their jobs.
But that's the thing. Nobody wants to do anything about it. I mean, again, you got unions, you got police unions. If someone got fired, again, this is the problem. We've gone soft. I hear it from mates that are firemen. I hear it from them. People, women, especially women. No disrespect to the women, they're fantastic, they're great. But getting different shifts and different can do pretty much what they want and don't do the hard yards where the blokes have to. So there's a lot of different issues and a lot of different organisations. And I just want to see a bit of fairness being rolled out. And as I said, these people have control of your data, and she was facetiously, stealing, people's properties. Imagine that you had an investment. This woman steals it out from under your nose. Unbelievable.
Oh yeah, exactly. We see it several times. Look at New South Wales. Their breaches several times, and I think it's happened in Queensland as well. Can't be too sure, but the breaches of the Firearms registry, and they ended up. I'm pretty sure here in Queensland, they found it in bikies' hands, printouts with places, addresses that the guns have been gone missing from, crossed out. And then you got all the licenses in New South Wales, 3,000 licenses sent to the wrong people with addresses.
There was one here too, and they had security licenses, and they basically sent the addresses of those security staff out by accident with a spreadsheet of all these details, to people that should not have had that information. Then obviously when they realize, they're trying to backtrack. By that time, mate, it's too late. Someone's got it. It's on email. It's gone. Once it's gone out on the ether, it's gone. You know what I mean? That's it. You never can get rid of it. You never can get rid of it.
Exactly. So we've got a couple of super chats here we'll go through. Thank you so much, guys. The first one here is from Ross. My cat H is now suspended and have to be put my Beretta away for safe storage or for safekeeping. Most bizarre allegations being made, which my case was front page. Well, please, if you can, mate, thank you for your super chat. Please elaborate on what your case was and what actually happened and what they're saying, because we know a lot of stuff is very, very bogus. So please hit down in the comments, let us know what has actually happened to your license. It'd be interesting. And we've got our good friend JR again. Good to see you again. Thank you for your $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. Hi, peeps. I'm going to start reloading some Hornady SST 150 grains, AR2208 for my 308 Howard 26. Has anyone have any issue, pros and cons? Well, funny you should say that. I run. Okay, I haven't got my my ones here, but I do run the SSTs 150s in my 3006, and it is absolutely perfect. I run the 2209 in it, and those projectiles absolutely scream, and they are laser beam. So to me, for my 3006, I've had no problems, and I don't see why you'd have any problems with your 308 at all. So,
the SSTs. Now, see, I used to run the, I think they were the soft point and the 308 soft point boat tails from Sierra. I think they're the 165s. Soft point boat tails, I think they're 160. They were when I had the 308. They were just dynamite too, like absolutely fantastic. But I used, again, don't recommend do this. So disclaimer, don't do this. For many years they recommended 2209 was a great powder for 308, and then they just discontinued that from 308. I don't know why, but I know a lot of guys still using 2209 for their 308. But again, like I said, guys, ADI doesn't recommend it. So, but I had so much, my 243, 260 and the 308 were all running on 2209, and that was perfect for me instead of having all these different powders. But again, maybe contact ADI and see if they're still doing it, because when I look at the manual, you can't use 2209 anymore.
Yeah, the manual does change every year. That's the other thing, guys. We're going to really get into the reloading, the systems that Jason and me use. So these are systems that we use, so take it with a grain of salt for yourself. And please, we're not saying to use what we do, because we basically want to be sued when you blow your head off for some reason. But they always recheck your manuals, always, because as Jason said, year by year, loads will change. They go down. Sometimes they go up, but mainly the powder weights go down, and sorts of powders just scrubbed off it, like as Jason said. So always check your details in the latest reloading manual. But then again, if it's worked for you for several years, why would it, just because they take it off the list, why wouldn't it work now?
Yeah, and interesting that Chris Henderson, or is it maybe Chris, not Chris, just C. Henderson, sorry, says powder availability is a con. Not sure what he means there, but I mean, I've definitely had trouble over, I've luckily got a big tub of the 2209. I got a small tub of 2225 for the Magnums. But yeah, I've definitely had trouble people finding it and getting it. Sometimes, yeah, it has been difficult at times, and I think it has been too.
I think the biggest thing about getting powder here in Australia, is all these new ridiculous laws they have, bringing them in, and with the transport, you can only carry so much across the state lines, and you can only have so much on you at one time. And then the trucks they were bringing in, where the trucks were delivering it, they couldn't park on the side of the road and just stop and sleep for a few hours. They had to keep moving or go to a warehouse, unload the entire truck that night, have a few hours sleep, and then get the truck reloaded again and keep driving. And I think that's what has turned and made it very hard to get some powders in some states. So as we know, ADI, what that's made down in Lithgow, is it? In New South Wales, around there? Or am I wrong?
I'm not 100, but I know Thales make it, don't they? Thales, is that
Thales? Yeah, they make it. So obviously in the state where it is made, it's got to be more readily available, because you're not going to go over state lines and have unload trucks and everything. I know getting stuff in Western Australia is pretty hard. I do know that. For everything, basically, only because of logistics and guns. And Australia Post refused to send stuff by mail over there.
Yeah. I thought they were trying to use, remember before there was, rumors going around that we're going to discontinue 2209. And I was like, hell no, they better not discontinue 2209. I'm not going to be happy about that. But I find the smaller ones are easier to get, but it's the bigger containers sometimes that are the ones that have been hard to get, whether they're making them, they're just producing the smaller ones at the moment. But I mean, if I've got 3 calibers that are running off, I mean, 2209, that can not go pretty quick, the amount that I shoot. I think I've had mine for the last year and a half. But, if you're shooting a fair bit, mate, you can easily go through, 3 calibers, a 3 kilo. That's, 4. Is it 4 kilo or 3 kilo, the big one? I can't remember. What is it,
4 kilos, and they come in, I think they're getting rid of the half kilos, I've heard, and they're going to be 1 kilo.
Yeah.
And I heard they're changing around a bit because of this COVID. They can't get the bottles made from China where they're getting the bottles. That's one thing I've heard. And that's why they go in the 1 litre ones, or the 1 kg.
Yeah, I'm on the YouTube now. There's a lot of good questions coming in. But anyway, you didn't talk about your PRC.
Yep. Okay, well, first, thank you very much, Lockie McFarlane, for the $30 super chat. Really awesome. Thank you so much. It is just unbelievable. Thank you very much. So the PRC, okay, I'll bring a couple of photos up here. So I took it out again this week. So I went to the barrel maker and asked them some questions. Why wasn't this happening? And I use Alan Swan barrels here in Brisbane, the best barrel makers you can get, I reckon. Absolutely fantastic people to deal with, and their work is top notch. So they took a look at the gun. They looked down the barrel. Everything. They took the muzzle brake off, and they said it looks like it was maybe that muzzle brake I put on was just sort of maybe just skimming a bit of the projectile. But it normally happens when the gun heats up. So I'm assuming that the barrel's expanding ever so slightly and the muzzle brake isn't, or something along those lines. I don't know. I could be wrong. So they said, just go and shoot it without the muzzle brake. So I went and shot it without the muzzle brake, and it came up with this. I'll bring up the first group out of the box. Hang on. It went really well. Like I couldn't believe it. And so this is the first group here. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to make it a bit easier. So this is what I got, the first group. So that's the first 5. That is Sierra Match Kings 142s. So I was pretty happy with that. That's the cold bore shot there, which always seems a little bit off, the very first shot of the date, and the next 4 just here. So that's under half MOA. These squares here are not MOA. They're slightly smaller. MOA is something like up here. So I was very happy with that. And then the next ones, if I can bring it up, came up like this. So this is the 147s, which was having a lot of problems with here. So this is the second group I shot, and believe it or not, that's 5 shots straight off the bat. That's with no muzzle brake. So that's really good because it means it's not the barrel. So I was extremely happy with that. So what I reckon it was is I've done a lot of research. The 147s, because they're not made to be going 32, 35, this is what sort of speeds I'm getting out of the 6.5 PRC, that it was spinning so fast and it was tearing the jackets off because it's a very thin jacket. People go to the 143s or the 140s, thicker jacket, or the Sierra Match Kings. So I had some Sierra Match Kings and went that, and that's the sort of groups I'm getting. When I was pushing the 147s above the 3000, it started doing it again. I try and keep it under, and it seemed to work okay. But I am going to go the Sierra Match Kings 142s, I think. So I was pretty happy with that.
Was it the muzzle brake was doing it? So what are you going to do? Put a new muzzle brake? What do you?
Yeah, by the time I shot a few groups, I was running out of ammo, but I put another muzzle brake on, made by the same people from New Zealand Muzzle Brakes, and it didn't do it. So I was pretty happy with that. So what I was talking to some people about was that the way where the rifling finishes and the muzzle brake starts, it's just the gases behind the projectile, just the way the gas is working and the airflow. And it's just certain speeds. It's just like the perfect storm. So on the threads of the 6.5 PRC, this is actually quite common of what can happen. So that was my little adventure this week. I will be doing a whole load development video on all this and talking about the ins and outs. And we will be doing a video soon talking about building a high-end custom rifle as well. Because I am getting a lot of questions about this rifle and how to build it, should I build it, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to write something up, and we will talk about that.
We know it was probably it was pretty simple as to probably what it was going to be. I mean, it couldn't be really too much. It was either the muzzle brake or it was going to have to be the barrel. It was going to be something. So we knew we ran it down what it was actually going to be. So, and good to see that it sorted itself out. So, but those what was that good group? Was that the 147?
That's 147s, but I'm just not convinced that it's going to be good every time because running out of ammo by that stage. So I'm going to make some more up and go out next week.
You've still got probably a bunch of 147s there. I'd probably put another 20 or 30 down the barrel and see if it does it with a new muzzle brake and then go from there. If it doesn't, I'd reckon using the 140s. But, if you want 142s, because they're going to go a little bit faster probably than the 147.
Yeah, they're screaming along quite nicely at about 3,500 feet. See, the thing is, because it's a long barrel, there's another thing. It's like about 2 or 3 inches longer than the average barrel. So the velocity saves for these, say, for example, 3,000 feet. But because that extra couple of inches is actually coming out at the end of the barrel from that load, about 200 feet a second more.
It's
crazy.
It's
amazing how much difference it makes.
Yeah, it's crazy how, but you're that extra long barrel, 1 in 8 twist. It's really hammering down that barrel quick. And it's just surprising to see bullets come apart. But if it could be, mate, it just could be that the way it's exiting the barrel, some freak anomaly that the way the gases are moving to the side or whatever it's doing is not working properly. So I'd try another muzzle brake. I'd try it without muzzle brakes first, shoot 30 rounds through it and see if it does it. If you get one, you shouldn't be getting any.
No, exactly. But everyone's saying that they do have problems with the speeds of the 147 just out of the 6.5 PRC. And I talked to a long-range shooter over in Utah, and he said, you got to remember these projectiles were made for the 6.5 Creedmoor that are going up to 1,000 feet slower.
Yeah, well, hang on, not 1,000 feet per second. It's probably how far? What's mine? 26.
26, and you can get these up to 37.
What, a 147 out of a PRC? No.
When you go down to the 135s.
Okay, I'd have to have a look at that. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I thought it was only about 300 feet a second more than the Creedmoor. I thought they were getting about 3,000 feet a second.
No, people are getting them right up there in the forums. I'm reading that saying they're going the lighter loads and they're really getting up there to about 3.5, 3.6, and some guys have even got 3.7.
while you're doing that, I'll look at the ADI website. I know you're not using ADI, but that'll give us a.
I'm using the Alliant 26.
Yeah. You keep talking. Maybe we'll start going through go through a few questions first while I'm looking for this.
Okay, now let's see. Now there's one question here that we were actually going to talk about from Joseph. How many rounds does one have to chew through before reloading is profitable? Well, for example, the 6.5 PRC, it's $85 roughly for 20 rounds. And you can get, for the same price of that, a pack of 100 projectiles. Okay, when I say reload it, when you reload, once you own the brass, you own the brass. It's not like you're buying it every time. But with the powder and primer and the projectiles, you get 100 for about $85 projectiles. And yeah, so definitely it's under half the price for more expensive rounds. And I know, and then you got the handguns. I was loading 9mm projectiles for about $8 per 100. This was several years ago, using berry projectiles, buying by lots of 1,000.
Maybe you might want to check your Alliant powders, man, on the ADI, man. Not even close to that. Not even close to that. If we look at, again, I thought I was right, but anyway, maybe they're a little bit more. They can't be that far out. 120 grain Barnes TDSX with that's 120 grain with AA2217. So basically 2,000, lowest low, but 2,823 feet per second up to 3,113. So let's say jump up to an average of 140. So we've got AR2217 and AR2225. So, mate, with the AR2217, 2,567 to the highest of 2,902. With the 225, it's 2640 to 2949. But if you go, which ones you were shooting, the 147 grain ELD match, 2217, 2505 to 2828. That's at and that's max at 2828 for the 147. And then with the AR 2225, you got a minimum of 2561 up to 2896. So man, it's not. I mean, I'm getting 2650 out of the 143s. So it's not really that hugely different. I mean, again, but maybe you want to jump on while we answer a few questions, jump on that Alliant.
Oh, they don't have to load things Alliant. I'm just using what the people on the forums are using, or the Hornady. The Hornady here, they say the max load, which I'm getting way more than I've been chronographing over 3.5 myself. I have a book full of I haven't got it's in the car, but a booklet full of loads. Oh, is this it? No, a book full of loads, chronographed.
You're shooting at what size barrel is it?
It's 28 inch.
Okay, so you're getting 4 extra inches. So I'd like to know what. Obviously, it's going to crank out faster than that too. If we've got any rifle barrel gurus on there, what difference would 4 inches make on that speed? That's the interesting part.
The 143s here, the max load is they say will be 3150, and I have tried that with the 142s because that's the same thing, and I've gone to their max load, and I am getting about 3.5 out of what they say it should be 3,150.
I know the 130 grain on a 24 inch is only 3,090. So it's a big difference between 3,090 and 3,600. So I couldn't see, extra 600. Is it? Anyway, I could be wrong, but if we've got any barrel gurus, I'd like to find out, what difference that makes on 4 inches of extra barrel. What are you getting, per inch of extra speed out of per inch of barrel? It'd be interesting. But anyway, maybe that's something we'll look at come up next time.
Well, here we go here. So I don't know if you can see that too well, but there's the one that I was running that there for 3,150, and I was getting 3,000 and 3,000, just over 3,500 for that one there.
Yeah, maybe that's the difference, man. Maybe your barrel's just too long, dude, for that caliber. It's just too long it's cranking harder, that extra 4 inches, just tearing it apart. So maybe you should have gone a 26-inch barrel.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's all a bit of a learning curve, really, isn't it?
But then, as I said, if you're buying a PRC, I mean, if you're going to go to a 24-inch barrel, which probably most men, if you can buy them off the shelf, you're probably going to get a 24 or a 26 most likely.
26 they come in.
Yeah, which manufacturer you use. I mean, if you went 26, let's say you're getting 3,000. I mean, a whole new caliber for an extra 350 feet a second. I just don't think it's worth it. But that's just me. I wouldn't buy it. Yeah, if I've already got a stick spree, if I didn't have one, then you probably would just better off buying a PRC. But if I didn't have one, if I did have a 260, which I do, and you've got a Creedmoor, I think, as well, I wouldn't go buy one of those for an extra 300 feet a second. It's not worth it for me.
I just like the interest of, even though it's been giving me headaches, I've been finding it interesting. It's a bit of a learning curve. I've enjoyed the whole experience, even though it has been a bit of a pain in the ass and a bit worrying at times. But now I see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, and our buddy Chris Miller, our regular, is being a little bit cheeky on the thing. He said, ask my wife, 4 inches would make a massive difference. Well, mate, if you've only got 2 inches, 4 inches, that extra 4 makes a big difference, dude.
It does, yeah, it does. It depends how your twist rate is. So let's get on to our topic, what people have come here to talk about. So, reloading. I got a message from guy James this week about wanting to know a bit more about reloading and the processes and how we reload, and any tips and tricks that we use and sort of products that we like. So we'll try and break this down for the beginners, I think, because seasoned reloaders will definitely have their own system and be stuck in their ways, I guess, like we all get like that. So we'll talk towards the beginners and what we use and the equipment that we use. So definitely, if you're going to get in it, like I did, I would get a beginner pack when I first started reloading. That comes with everything you need to get you going. The press, the powder dropper, the scales, and that's just a good way to start. And then you start building from there.
Yeah, exactly. And looks like we've got a few brass goblins on the brass goblins on the the chat. Getting their hands on some brass. Our regular Happy Hunter, he goes, luckily one of the security companies was shooting there. You got 20-kilo bags of 9mm. He goes, obviously that's a good steal for you there, man.
Nice. Oh, that is. Yeah.
So
that is very good. Yeah. So, it just comes down to basically you got to start somewhere. So get yourself a starter pack. Hornady make a good one. RCBS make a good one. And they seem to be the best ones out there to start off with. Lee make a good one to get off with as well. And it's not going to bust your bank. So get that, and then you can progress into other gadgets. Like my new favorite gadget. I might put this review out the next day or two on this Lyman case trimmer. One of the best things I've ever brought. It just makes everything so easy. So we start off with like people want to know, what brass do we use? So I use a lot of the Hornady. Here's the 6.5 PRC brass. So I just tend to buy brand new brass, a Hornady. The one I mainly do stay well away from, and I think everyone can agree, is the Winchester.
God, man, I had to give it to my mate. Who's a gun dealer. He ended up buying it off me, man. It was so bad. I literally saw a post yesterday on Facebook. The guy put up about 20 pieces of brass and said, they were all just damaged at the top, split. And he said, do you know what these are? Like, everyone was saying it was Winchester. And I got to agree, no disrespect to them in particular, but it's cheap crap, to be honest. And I couldn't wait to get rid of it. And I reckon that could be, again, I say could be, why I'm having some blowouts with the 243 in regards to sometimes up to 80, 100 feet a second blowing out on the loads, on my reloads. So, again, not good for long range shooting when it's pulling up 6 feet short at 350 meters or 400 meters, so yeah, it's just not good. So once I get rid of that, shoot that out, that'll take years probably to shoot all that, because I think I've got about 400 pieces of brass for that. So yeah, not going to be good. But speaking of that, I'm going to go back to the 87 grain VMAX, the slaying bullet of the 243, probably one of the most popular bullets, I reckon. For the 243 is the 87 grain VMAX. I was running the 70 grain Blitz King, which are also fantastic as well. You know, if you watched my rabbit video, and there's, I think, the first series that I did, 2-part series on my YouTube channel, you would have seen they were just getting blitzed. But then, you know what, which totally blows my mind, they're a varmint cartridge, obviously, you know, being the Blitz King. When I was using the 143 grain ELDX from the 260, some of those, yeah, you got a few bang flops here and there. But some of them, man, just like exploding them. You know, one part's over there, the other part's over there, and they should be a bit of a harder jacket compared to the ELD match. And mate, you saw the video, you saw the footage, and this one I'm going to put out probably on the 1st of October in about 5 days. The 2-minute video of like 25 kills in 2 minutes. You'll see the first 3 or 4 shots are with the 260. Mate, just unbelievable carnage on that thing. And like I said, I was going to go back to the 140s or go to the 140s, in fact, but I may not. I may stick with the 143s. They're only an extra couple of bucks because, you know, when you're seeing that footage, man, it certainly makes for pleasing viewing if you're into that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's a good one for Happy Hunter. I found the PPU have extremely reliable brass to reload, and that is true. It's a very good brass to reload, the PPU. So if you get say, for example, buy it, it's extremely cheap ammo to buy. And I've always had good luck with accuracy out of the PPU. So if you get a whole heap, like a few hundred of them, shoot them off like the 308s, cost a bugger all, and then you got your brass. It's cheaper to buy a preloaded one than buying the brass, then load off that PPU. That's a really good system as well. I've reloaded masses of PPU brass in the past. Masses.
One thing I want to say, because there's a lot of questions here, people asking the same thing, you know, is it beneficial? How much do I have to shoot? Because there's so many here, we'll probably just answer it. How much do you have to shoot to actually get your money back? And I've never, just for me personally, I don't know if Aaron's the same way, I've never worried about that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, one, I like the process of reloading. Number two, I like the results that come from reloading. So I don't do it for cost savings. I want to get generally the most accurate load possible. I just, you know, I don't want to spend $60 or $70 for 20 rounds. Yeah, man, like, can you imagine doing that? It's expensive enough as it is, especially with the 300 Win Mag, for an example. I mean, some of that Hornady match stuff, I mean, $70 a box. It's definitely getting up there. And I want to see the accuracy. I want to see low standard deviation between the speed of the bullet. So if it's 3,000 feet a second, I want to see, you know, 29.95, 3,004, you know, 29.98. I want to see it as close to that number as possible, or have that extreme spread so small that I know it's going to be accurate at all ranges, and there's not going to be much spread in velocity. Because if you have a big spread in velocity, as you know, Aaron, when you're shooting long range, you know, I did that a couple on the Riverina where I shoot, you know, 600-700 meters with the 260. That was pulling up sometimes 5 or 6 feet short. Sometimes it's going long because it's boosting up instead of, you know, being normal. I always found it was boosting up for some reason. So I think it was about 3150, and then it would go to, like, you know, or 3080, and then it'd go to 3165 or 80. I'm like, what the hell? What's going on here? This is crazy. So hopefully that's going to be able to be sorted by, I've gone to, and Aaron probably disagrees too, and I don't think it'll make any difference, but I've gone to match primers, so they're only a couple of bucks extra, so the amount I shoot's not going to bother. But, you know, hopefully I go back to the 87 grain VMAX. And someone was telling me, Aaron, I don't know whether this is true, I'm running, you know, the 260 and the 243 both run on a 308 case, right? So I'm almost running the same load in both calibers, so about 42.5 grains of 2209 for the 260 and 42.5 as well, actually, for the 70 grain Blitz King, but it's going to be 43 grains with the 87 grain VMAX. So how much dead space do you have in that case? And yeah, because considering, don't forget, one bullet's a 70 grain and one's 143. So obviously when you're sticking a 143 grain bullet, you know, inside the case, you're obviously going to have that fill up more of the case and probably not have as much dead space. And my mate goes, I would either change your powder or go back to a heavier bullet and see if that can make a difference and you get some steady speed. So, mate, we'll find out. But you've got a super chat from old Dirty Fox, if it come up on your screen.
Yes. Well, I've got a bit to say about what you just said as well, so we'll go back to that soon. Thank you very much, Dirty Fox, for the $20 super chat. So if you do super chat, guys, we're going to try and bring your question up at the top of the queue, and it will be up on screen as soon as we can get it. So if you really do want your question answered, unfortunately, super chat is the way to go because we see them straight away. Evening, everyone. I load for competition and fun from long range to Western action. I reload 308, 303, 45, 45 Colt, 12 gauge. I got my first 223 and 9mm the other day, so I was reloading for them as well. Jeez, it's a lot. Well, I've stopped reloading for 223. I've got thousands. Literally, I've got a tub like this full of 223 brass, only because I'm getting really good stuff out of the Hornady tap and some of the other Hornady brands. And the amount I do shoot it now, it's easier for me just to buy the ammo for it. And I've got a Stillen 650 I'm going to set up and start reading a bit more handgun stuff in 44 Magnum because, geez, that saves heaps of money doing that. The 9mm, that's for sure, and the 44 Mag and 357.
Now, want to go one here. I don't know if these guys are having a chat because I'm just trying to scroll up to see. And I know this guy, he's been a regular in our stream, but Brett says that trimmer is a POS, meaning piece of shit. So let us know, Brett. Are you talking about Aaron's one? Are you talking about one in the chat? Let us know because I know Aaron swears. If you're talking about his one, Aaron swears by that trimmer. So
it is. This is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Best thing I ever brought. So quick, accurate, and you can just change these out. I know I've shown you guys before. You just change these collars out, and you've got the code there. And on the code, it will do a whole heap of different calibers, and you just put it in, spring loaded, and just fantastic. Saves so much time. So much time.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. What were you going to say? You were going to add on to what I was saying.
Yes, what you're talking about, the match primers, I was talking to a gun.
And we've lost Aaron for a second, guys, I think. Just if you guys still got me, let me know if you've still got me because I don't have Aaron at all, guys. Let me know if you can still hear me. Looks like I'm going to be talking to myself for a couple of seconds. Let me go, guys, if you can still hear me in the chat. Yeah, you can still hear me. So you've lost Aaron. Yeah, cool. All right. So, yeah, going back to what I was saying, while he's trying to log back in, going to the 87 grain VMAX. I mean, these are slayers. I've seen people, a couple of guys on the internet are using them as well, which is fantastic. I think while Aaron logs back in, we'll talk about dies. This is going to be an interesting one, whether you guys use dies for full resizing or just neck resizing. So I generally use the 243. 243. Sorry, Aaron just messaged me at the same time, guys. That's right. He just told me he's going to be back in a minute. He just had to restart it. Yeah, 243 Winchester. This is the Redding dies. I tend to use Redding dies. I don't know. I mean, you guys getting good results. I mean, the RCBS ones are good. The Hornady ones are good. I like these ones, and it's just a personal preference because these ones don't have the big stem that comes out the top. Not really a big fan of those. And, as you know, good Redding quality, in my opinion. That's what I think anyway, guys. I mean, let me know what you guys are using in the comments. I mean, I know a guy that's actually shooting Lee products. Mate, he's got the most accurate loads I've ever seen. It's beggars belief, to be brutally honest with you. So anyway, it looks like loud and clear. All you guys are hearing me. Sorry, Aaron this tends to happen sometimes. So he's going to restart and we'll be back soon. He'll be back as soon as possible. All right. So I know Aaron's having shredding issues with his 6.5 PRC. In the Bagara, like our Bagara operator, our friend here on the chat. Where is it? I'm just going to grab them, guys. So I tend to use, for these ones, I'm going to use the 208 grain ELD match bullet, 208 grain. So that's going to be out of the 300 Win Mag. I've also, what's this one? I've also got the 7mm light stainless Tikka for hunting. I'm going to use sorry, I can't know if you can see that because it has a reflective base. This is the ELDX 7mm Rem Mag, 162 grain ELDX. And, of course, out of my Blitzing 260, because I love the 6.5 cartridges, 143 grain ELDX. Can't go wrong with those, man. Can't go wrong with those. I got a bunch of those. I mean, look at that long, thin bullet, mate. Flies through the air fantastically. And like I said, if you jump on my YouTube channel, AHP Outdoors, the second, I think it's called Critter Carnage Part 2, all I used on that whole video on the last day, because that was the only day it wasn't raining, 143 grain ELDX. Anyway, I'm going to jump into Aaron's probably still coming back. I don't know what on earth he's doing, guys. So let me just check here for 2 secs while we're doing the stream. Yeah, he says he's reloading it. All right, let's just go through. Sorry, guys, if this is a bit slow because he's obviously just left me at the last second. So I'm just going to see a few questions here from some guys. Anyway, let me know what you guys are using too. Like, let's talk about that while I do it. What calibers are you using, I should say? And what do you guys like in projectiles? And actually, I've got an interesting one. What about Nosler? We don't hear a lot about Nosler these days. Which one any of you guys using Nosler out there? I used to use Nosler out of the 223, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. No issues there at all using Nosler. I think I used the 50 grain Nosler ballistic tips. I've got to admit they were pretty much dynamite. So anyway, yep, I've got a few questions here. Let's just have a look. So Dave Curte says Nosler is expensive. Yep, they are. He's back. Thank
Jesus.
God.
Sorry about that, guys. The whole computer just died, and it came blue screen of death, like I'd been hacked from an anti. I can't believe it. It wouldn't let me connect to the internet. So very sorry about that.
Man, I'm here trying to save the stream, man. I'm like, bang, he's gone. I got to think on my feet. It's.
Oh, geez, I can't believe it. Don't know what the hell's going on. Yeah, the joys of living in the countryside. Okay, so were you talking about something, or can I carry on from?
Yeah, no. Talking about we'll talk about that first probably because that was the topic of discussion. I was just talking about some of the calibers. I was talking about me using Redding dies, which I really like. I know you like, and I do like the Hornady ones, but I do like the fact that they don't have the stem on them. I'm just not a fan of that big long stem. Just don't like it. That's my personal opinion. But again, I do like my Redding dies. And I was just talking about all the ELDXs and match bullets I'm using. But yeah, I was going to say a lot of people, Nosler are expensive, but you don't tend to see a lot of people out there using the Nosler bullets. Is it because they're a bit expensive? I wonder what the reason is.
Yeah, I've tried a few in the 300 rum, and I didn't really get any sort of accuracy whatsoever out of them, so I wasn't impressed with them. So I went with the 220s from the Sierra, which I really don't have any problem with Sierras at all when it comes to target loads. They're a beautiful made bullet, and they match nice and big compared to the 308 ones. So I do like those.
Yeah, and Aussie Shooter goes, this is now the Jace show. And I said, mate, yeah, we should kick Aaron off, man. I'll take over the channel every Thursday. He won't be a part of the show anymore. He hasn't got a good enough system to be part of the show anymore. So he'll be gone from now on. It's just going to be me, guys. So, yeah, he'll be gone. Don't worry about him.
Yeah, well, your internet's just as bad down on Sydney, isn't it? Jeez. Last week, you kept freezing the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know. I need a good internet. A lot of people here are talking about the Barnes as well, which I have heard good things about the Barnes, but the most common, I guess, critical about Barnes is you can never get the bastards because every time they come in, everyone's stocking up big time. So, if you guys are buying Barnes, let us know in the comments whether are they currently available. Have you ever had problems getting them? because every time I speak to someone, most people that I know that we're using them go, yeah, they're fantastic, but one, they're expensive. Most bullets are expensive these days, at least the premium ones. And yeah, they've had to go back to, Sierras, Hornadies, Noslers, because they're just not in stock. People just aren't getting them. They've got to wait too long. Yeah, it's just, the Gara operator says 50 projectiles of Barnes, 115. Woo, hey, wow.
Yeah, because that's solid copper, I think.
I thought, man, like $70 or $80, $75 to $85 for the Hornies were a bit expensive. But, as they say, mate, shooting's not getting any cheaper, is it?
Well, try going to the burgers. All long distance shooters say burgers. But I had mate one for his 338 bullets a year for his burger projectiles, and then he got a few packets and said, "Oh, I better order some more." But no, you'll be waiting another year for next year's order to come in. There's only two small people bringing in the burger projectiles. One of the big wholesalers just need to go full hog and bring in the burgers, and they're really expensive for a 50 rounds. But they are. Everyone says they are the best. But here we go.
Let me go one thing. This one's important before we do that one. Nick Lass says, how about spear bullets? I bought some recently in 308, had a good BC 5.1. I mean, I know a lot of guys that are shooting those really good price spears. Sometimes they're up to, 40%, 50% even cheaper than the more expensive brand. And yeah, a lot of guys that I know are using the spear and having good results. Haven't sort of had much in regards to long range shooting. But anything to do with hunting and that, fantastic results. I think I was using the 150 grain soft points from Spear, but I didn't have a chance to reload them before I ended up getting rid of the 308 and went to the 7mm Ram mag. So, I've mate, not heard anything bad about those. You get the odd thing, but like anything, man, sometimes you'll get a bad bullet that won't shoot, or in Aaron's case, shreds out of the barrel, so you just got to try different things, man. You can't just pick up I've been lucky that mostly if I've picked one bullet and one powder, somewhere along that spectrum, that bullet will shoot. I did have not as good results with 2209 and the 87, so I've got to check that out. I mean, to my standard of what I think is going to be acceptable for long-range 243 varminting. But, again, I'll let you know in future streams how that works out for me with the 87s. But I think I'm at about 43 grains of 2209, but I'll keep you updated.
Well, one thing I have noticed with all this PRC trying everything out, it has always, no matter what grains, 147s or 142s, they've basically been impacting in the same place at 100 meters. It's something I can't believe. Even the 153 A-tips I tried, the expensive A-tips, and they've all been impacting in basically the same area, which I found, it was really, really amazing. And that's another thing. When I took that muzzle brake off, it was shooting left. As soon as I took the muzzle brake off, boom, it moved. As you saw in those photos, dead center.
Yeah, and I think people are expecting to now, if you're buying bullets to reload, I mean, people just aren't going to accept shit quality. They're just not going to, regardless of the price. I mean, again, I think some brands you're probably going to pay more because of the name. Whether the quality's any better, well, that's debatable. You know what I mean? Like, it depends. You can get some bad loads too, and you never know why maybe a load's not shooting either. That may be shot previously. Is the barrel starting to wear out? Does it need a clean? There's so many factors involved in whether a bullet's going to shoot or not, and putting all those factors together and hopefully getting it to shoot. That's the most important thing.
Yes, exactly. And I've had really good luck with out of my old 223 pump action of all things, the Roo shooter things from Hornady, the bulk packs of like 1,000 that cost absolutely nothing to buy. Really good grouping with that for hunting out of my 223. You don't, for hunting rounds, I don't think you need to spend an absolute fortune. No. But here we do have a backup, another thing from Brett Morris about this. It's the collar slips and the cases get shorter. I've never actually found that. I have tried them. I've measured them, and I've done 500 308, and they all stayed exactly the same. So I'm not too sure what happened there. But no, I've never had that problem, Brett, at all.
Yeah, and Steve, the good one here, Steve Balak. Has anyone used 2207 for 223? Mate, I've found 2208 has been every time I shot 228, I think Aaron will probably agree with this, 2208 in the 223. Mate, I think it was 26.5 grains maybe. Again, look at the book. Don't listen to me. This is not advice on reloading. I just want to make clear of that. Don't blow your head off. Look at the manuals, double check, triple check. 2208's always been absolutely fantastic for me, man. And mate, wow, it's always been a shooter. Nosler, varmint bullets. I mean, 50 grain VMAX is perfect, mate. 223 has always been a good shooter for me with 2208.
Yeah, I was running the Benchmark 2. That's what I was running, but I will swap. If I ever reload again, I'll be swapping to the 2208 because I use 2208 for my 308. So at least I got the powder. There's one less powder I got to buy. Steve says here SSTs all the way, and I cannot say a bad thing about the Hornady SSTs, the 150s out of my 3006. I got some. And I don't have some in here actually. They're down the shed, but yep, mate, I run a compressed load. That's another thing. Put in the comments down there who runs compressed loads in their rifles. I run it in my 3006, and you can hear it crunching down on top of it. Then it's going 3,000 feet a second, and it's just screaming. And it's like a laser beam out to 300 meters. And when it hits something, the carnage is just unbelievable. Just rips things in half and opens them up like a garbage can size hole through them.
Quick one for you, Aaron. Bagara, our mate Bagara says, what powder are you using for the 6.6 cm? I think you mean 6.5 Creedmoor, I'm guessing.
I was using, I actually had that Creedmoor on loan, so it wasn't mine. It was from Lithgow. But when I reloaded for it, I got ready. You could see in our videos that Jason and me did, had the accuracy out of that. Was a Reloader 17 I was using for that in the 147s, and I was getting bullet on bullet. Go look at the I will put it out soon. The what is it? The one that you tested, Desert Tech. Part 2 of that. I used the my Reload 147s and the Lithgow Woomera video. I think there's some in that I made up, and they were just awesome. So Reloader 17. I can't exactly remember the weight offhand I used, the grains, but it was the 147 match, and it was unbelievable. This is something I was going to say before the internet gods booted me off. It was the match primers compared to normal primers. I talked to a gunsmith a while ago, and he ran extensive tests on that. Are they better or not? And most people, and he said most of them, weren't. There was no difference whatsoever using match or using the standard blue box of Federal. So that's what he came and he tested pressures, he tested everything, and he said there was no significant increase in performance whatsoever by using it. And basically, match primers, from what my understanding is, all they're doing is just there's someone checking every primer to make sure they're okay.
Yeah,
and that's the only difference. And the other thing, something I was going to bring up, was you're talking about long range, and I agree with you about the deviation in your loads and accuracy. Well, I put match loads this week through the chronograph with a mate of mine, and they were $85 a box, and their spread, and I was getting bullet on bullet through the PRC, and their spread was 100 feet a second out of the factory loads. I was blown away. That was the Hornady Hunter and the Hornady Match, and the 100, 150 spread, but yet I was still getting really good groups with them. And what we were shooting in our competition at Christmas time between you and me, out of the Creedmoor, that was Hornady Match, and we didn't chronograph those though, but you saw the groups at 1,000 meters. It was basically, the second group was hand size. And the first group was about 600 mils.
And a lot of people have been asking that. And I think, I did that. You remember that. If people haven't listened to the podcast, go to AustralianHuntingPodcast.com.au, or even just jump on YouTube and just type in terminal ballistics with Nathan Foster. A lot of people are talking about whether is there any much difference between match bullets and hunting bullets, especially for he made some very, very good points about don't look at what's on the box just because it says long range hunter or triple expanding or whatever. That's just marketing gibberish. Don't worry about that. Look at what the bullet does. And he does a lot of YouTube stuff as well. If you type in Nathan Foster, shooting match bullets at longer ranges. So I say this is what I'm going to personally do from now on. If I've got like a varmint rifle and it's more long range shooting, even though it's going to be hunting, I'm probably going to use match bullets because they seem to work really well. You got good BC, they fly well through the air. And if I'm specifically got just a hunting rifle, light barrel, carry around, I'd probably just use the hunting bullets. Like I said, guys, with the 162 grain as well. For the the 7mm Rem mag, and where I'd put them. Hang on, it's here somewhere. There they are. The 162 grain ELDX for just purely for hunting rifle. So, like I said, if I had my time over, I'd probably go to the 140s for the 260. But anyway, mate, you got a super chat from James, so I don't want to.
Yep. Thank you very much, James, for a $5 super chat. Powder dropper or scales, which is better for accuracy?
We were talking about this.
Yep, scales. Definitely scales on my match loads now I'm making for my for the actual PRC, and I'm going to do that with my competition 308. I am going to just use the scales. I'm going down to even taking out 1 grain or adding 1 piece of powder. That's how accurate I'm getting it. I'm getting a spread of between 10 and 15 by doing it that way. It takes a lot longer because my Lyman powder thrower, the electronic one I use, is totally inaccurate. It's just throwing them out half a grain here, up and under. It's just way off. So I'm using the electronic powder thrower to get me in the ballpark, and then I'm putting it on the scale and then finishing it off on the scale.
That's what I've been doing. I found I was doing a test on both. So I got the Lyman Gen 6 like you've got. Yep. And then I've got also the RCBS balance beam scales. Now, after about 20 minutes, I noticed I'm putting it on the scale and it's reading high on the balance beam scale. And I'm thinking, mate, did I knock them? Did I do this? And so I'm thinking it's the balance beam scale, And then I do it again and I go, nah, this is not good. Anyway, I thought, I'll just recollaborate. I'll leave that load off to the side and I'll recollaborate the Gen 6. As soon as I'd done that, it was about a grain, half a grain to a grain over. And I'm thinking, well, here's me judging the balance beam scale as being bad when the other one, after 20 minutes, started fluctuating and I had to recollaborate. Like if I'm reloading with the Lyman Gen 6, I'll often make sure I recollaborate 3 to 4 times throughout the process, especially if I'm down there for an hour and a half just doing some reloading. I'll recollaborate it every 20 minutes because you just can't trust that it's not going to go out. Like, again, a good set of balance beam scales. Unless you want to buy those really expensive automatic scales, the ones everyone using. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, but a lot of the long-range shooters are using them, and they're like, they're 15 under $2,000 or something. I mean, it's outrageously priced, I think. So I'm probably going to start once those scales go bad on me, mate. I'm probably just going to go back to the balance beam scale. It's going to take longer. I don't shoot as much as you, so mate. Once I do my prep, I'll just reload a couple of 100 rounds, 200 rounds for each one. Over a couple of weeks. Yeah,
well, I've got a range of droppers as well. The click ones. I'm just going to set those up for my 308 and 3006. And double check those because they're only hunting rounds, and my real target is my 300 rum and my PRC. So I'll do those on the balance beams. Yeah, and I don't know. I might get another one. My mate just bought a Hornady and he raves. Says it's fantastic, and he's had no problems with it. And he's loaded up quite a few out of the Hornady electronic scales thrower. So I might look at that. But yeah, mine's already had it, man. But it's throwing consistently out. It's past its use by date, and I've only had it for about a year or so, couple of years, mate.
I just reckon, man, it's just, if you're pumping them out and you're a heavy shooter, I think it's worthwhile. But you got to, as GK says here, you got to calibrate them and make sure they're collaborated properly. But I do it a couple of times. But I was judging the scales when I shouldn't have been, the balance beams when I shouldn't have been. I should have been judging the electronic scales. And like I said, I just don't. I think long term, a lot of the really long range shooters, they still use balance beam scales for accuracy, and you can't go wrong with a good set of balance beam scales.
And Dave says he uses the trickler. Well, I just have a little bowl of powder next to my scales, and that's my trickler. I haven't got time for twiddling around with the trickler. I just dip my finger in it and just drop a couple of pieces in there. That's my trickler.
What you can do too, I find, is I've actually got a powder thrower as well. So I'll do what Aaron does. I'll throw it to within a grain or two, whatever it is, a grain. I'll just keep testing it. And then when I'm ready to go, mate, I'll just, throw a load, bang, straight onto the scale, trickle up. But, mate, you can do them pretty quick once it might be a bit of extra setup time. But once you've got it set up, mate, you can really start pumping them out. Trickle, bang, and go. Ready to go. And I'll often, one thing I think is really important, normally with these calibers, you'll know if you overcharge, because I did one last week. I'm like, why is it not going into it? What's happening here? It's like stuck halfway. Oh, shit, I double charged it. So you've got to be careful. So I'll charge one case, seat the bullet. I'll, if I'm reloading, I'll write it on with a texture on the side of it, 42 grains, whatever it is. That's if I'm, I haven't got a specific load yet. But if I've got a load, I know that works. Bang, one charge, one bullet, one charge, one bullet. Just keep the process going, because I know guys that'll charge 50 or 60 cases in a row, and if you get it wrong, you're not going to blow your head off, man. And that's the last thing we want to see is, missing half your face or your hands, or you got your hand on the front, mate, it blows half your hand off, I tell you.
Yeah, exactly. And a few people have also said that the electronic scales are always a bit out for them. So
Mick Becker's followed up too. He made a mistake there. It's not 0.1 to 39.9. Like if it's 42, it'll be 41.9 to 42.1. So he did follow up with straight after that question that he got that wrong. So I think they're more than that sometimes, guys. Sometimes mine, if I wanted to throw, say, 42, I've got to put it at 41.5, because sometimes it's constantly throwing a half a grain over. And if I put it 42, it constantly throws over. So I've got to put it back in, put the the container with the little thing back on, and then it'll throw high again, chuck it back in the hopper, put it on again. Where sometimes, that's why I said I think once this one shits itself and it's gone, I'm just going to go back to a good balance beam scale, which I've got some RCBS. That's going to be it for me, mate. And then hopefully get some good loads out of those.
Yeah, yep. That's I'm going to pretty much do the same now, I think, as well. But my hunting loads, I don't have to be so accurate because you're only shooting 300 meters. So Brett says I get asked a lot about these A-tips. The 153s are good with his Creedmoor. So go see my video I made on the Hornady A-tips after you've watched this video, and you'll see the sort of results I was getting with it. I was very happy. Nice groups at 1,000 meters. And I was very happy with the A-tip. So definitely go have a look at them. They're a bit more pricey, but they're aluminium tipped. So definitely go and have a look at that.
I still think, like I said, you can't go past a good Hornady, a good Match Bullet, a good ELDX, or a good Barnes, or a good Sierra Match Kings, or SMKs, TMKs, whatever the tip Match Kings, whatever they are, mate, those premium bullets, you're going to get good results, man. But like I said, I think that's about a good pricing, especially in your higher calibers, your $75, $80 a box. And that's probably getting a bit expensive too, eh? Like you buy 500 rounds. I mean, you go on a hunting trip on a weekend, but you can blast through 100 rounds, no dramas. If you're there for 5 days, you've got to take multiple calibers. Mate, it's getting up there. I mean, look at those. I think what are these? The Hornady Match, the 208 grain ELD matches. I mean, they're like $85, $86 a box, I think now. I mean, fantastic bullet. But I mean, you shoot 100 of those, mate. There's $100. You've just I was shooting rabbits, like I said, and But I think I went through my last box of ELDXs, about 100 bullets, maybe 70 or 80, 90. And that was $100, downrange on that trip just there alone on the last day, let alone, 243 or one of your other calibers.
Yep, exactly. So next thing we're going to talk about, change of subject, sorry, is cleaning your brass. Get down in the comments, guys. Tell us, what do you clean your brass with? I use stainless steel wet tumbler. Would never go back. It is awesome. Do you use the corn cob? Or a lot of people now are using the corn cob tumblers, but putting rice in them. So get in the comments and tell us what you do. I absolutely swear by the wet tumbling, the stainless steel. Absolutely swear by it.
This is a very good one. I was actually going to mention this, and I'm glad this person did. Rose123. I'm not sure if it's a female person, but she goes, and I got these too, actually. These are really good too. I prefer, once I have the powder thrower set up, I prefer that option, but you do buy the powder scoops from Lee, and you've got the list, and you find the powder equivalent, and you use the powder scoop. So you might have a little jar of powder. You scoop to that. It'll tell you what the grains are for that particular scoop, and then you just trickle up from there. So that's a cheap way to do that. I think the Lee cups, I think probably $20 or something, maybe $25, and you just boom, load, bang, straight into your hopper on your balance beam scales. Use your trickler to scale up, and mate, Bob's your uncle. You're there, good to go. And once I know guys that do that, they've got their reloading kit is about this big in like a little box from like Bunnings, like a little toolbox, and mate, they carry very minimal stuff and get it done easily.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about your little cups, but I've never ever tried them at all.
Let me say one thing too. This was kind of funny, but kind of pissed me off. So I had took off my muzzle brakes. So I shot a couple of 100 rounds out of it, and I wanted to clean it. I wanted to clean off all the carbon. So I put them through my because they're stainless. Well, stainless. I put them through my ultrasonic cleaner one night, and I thought I kept on turning them on because it takes about 10, 15 goes of like 5-7 minutes to actually make them clean. Anyway, so I put them in there, and I left them in there overnight, and I come back the next morning. Fuck, they were starting to rust pretty bad, dude, just sitting in fresh water overnight. I think, what the hell's going on? Anyway, I'm scrubbing them with a bit of 4-aught steel wool from Bunnings, the real fine stuff, mate. Couldn't get it off, but I'm thinking, anyway, I ended up putting the main brake through the stainless steel media tumbler, thinking that might work. And because it started to actually polish it up a bit, like because he sandblasted it from when I got the barrel threaded. I'm thinking, I better not do that anymore because it'll take off the matte finish and make it like more of a polished finish. Anyway, I got this worked fantastically. So I've got the steel wool, mate, not coming off. I'm thinking, man, what the hell? This has been like 12 hours overnight. What's going on? Anyway, I end up getting some of that CLR rust removal. Mate, must have some chemical in it, mate. As soon as I dabbed it on it, but mate, it just started to disappear. The only problem was it was rusted inside the muzzle brake too. So I'm fucking cleaning it with some earbuds and, oh man. But luckily, all I had to do was rub it with the CLR, that calcium lime rust removal, whatever it is. That worked perfectly. I'm like, man, just overnight. But I'm probably going to get another ultrasonic cleaner, one that you can put on for like 30 or 40 minutes, one of those eBay jobs for like a couple $100. Put it on for half an hour, and they just brings them up absolutely spotless after about an hour. It gets all the carbon out of them. And yeah, don't leave your brakes in there overnight, guys, because yeah, what a shit that was, I tell you. And I couldn't believe it. I go, rusted overnight. It's only in water. I'm like, what? But anyway.
Jesus, that's not good at all. Not good at all. But a few people here are saying they're using the ultrasonic for their brass, and Andy here, I use the wet tumbler and first the tumbler with ultrasonic, then the tumbler with corn cob. Man, you can eliminate all that by just using the stainless steel wet tumbler.
Yeah. But then again, like those ones, anything with those cheaper ultrasonic cleaners, like the one I've got, I think it's a super cheap auto special. You can only put them on for like 480 seconds. What's that? Like 7 minutes, where the other ones, they got like a 30 to 40 minute timer on them. So you can set them for half an hour. And then if you need to put them on again, you put them on for another half an hour. They come with an inbuilt fan to keep it cool. Whereas obviously those cheaper ones, they don't have a cooler in them. So you can't run them as long. Otherwise you risk burning out whatever motor or whatever's going on in there. which is pretty shit. But yeah, the CLR definitely mate. As soon as I even dabbed it on there, mate, it was disappearing. Yet when I didn't have that with the steel wall, like the really light stuff, just mate, would not come off. I'm thinking, fuck, like if I got to go get these sandblasted again, what the hell, you know?
Yep. Yes, it's yeah, that was odd because stainless. You think it wouldn't rust that fast? I know stainless can rust, but yeah, definitely not that fast.
Mike says, "What is wet tumbling?" He goes, "Wet tumbling," but I guess he means wet tumbling.
Yeah, they get little stainless steel beads. You put them in a container, you sort of screw together, or it locks in several different methods, and I add citric acid, a bit of dishwashing soap, and water. And the little stainless steel beads, they get inside and outside. They clean the pocket holes, the primer pocket holes, and it just comes up like brand new brass. Jason told me this trick. You put in a towel, you rub them down just to get the droplets off. Then I put them in for 3 hours into a food dehydrator at 70 degrees, 3 hours, and then they're perfect, ready to load.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That makes the big difference because some people just pull them straight out of the wet tumbler, the stainless steel wet tumbler. Like mine are are yours a bead? Mine's more of a pin, but anyway, maybe yours
mine's a pin.
Yeah, okay, pins as well. I think I've got to get a smaller pin because my primer pockets don't do as well in the thing. But like I said, guys, one thing I will say is when you're using the stainless steel wet tumbler, use boiling water for your ultrasonic cleaner, but don't use boiling water inside your tumbler because it ends up ruining the seals and that, and you get expansion because of the heat, and it eventually causes damage to the seal. So don't use that. You don't need to. You just use the pins. You use the, what'd you say? It was the, what's the powder you use? Citric acid.
Just get that in the baking area at the supermarket. But I got two of the wet tumblers, and both of the big O-rings have broken. That seal the lid on, and I'm starting to think maybe it was a citric acid doing that.
Yeah, well, it could be. You got to buy. I know you can buy. I think you can buy the. What'd you do then? Did you buy new ones, or what'd you do? Can you find them on the net? Are they on eBay?
No, I haven't found them yet. I've got to find them because I haven't cleaned any for a little while.
Because I know mine.
Oh, now.
Sorry, you're dropping out again, dude. You're dropping out.
Oh, geez. Okay, I'll turn that off.
All right.
Hopefully that won't happen again. JR says lemon juice and vinegar. I was using vinegar, but with the citric acid, but I didn't see any difference. I took out the vinegar.
Yeah. And like I was going to say, make sure when you take them out when you get all the pins out, I've got one of those tumblers now. You can actually spin it to get it out because I was shaking him through this like little old like deep frying basket before to get all the pins out. I'd lose a couple of occasions. So now I've got this spinning one. But make sure when you put them on the towel, you flip it over and you rub them because you want to get as much water off the outside of the case as possible. Because if you put them straight in your dehydrator, when you pull them out, they'll look like crap because the drops just dry on them and it looks terrible. So make sure you put them in the towel on a flat surface, rub them until you get all that water off the outside, then put them in. Mate, they come out looking like gold, man. It's like I could just melt this down and pretend it's gold, Yeah,
they come out good. Tommy here goes on a cookie sheet and bake at 170 degrees. I tried that once and it got all funny colors. It looked a bit odd. So I don't know if I was doing any damage or not.
Yeah, exactly. But you can use cob media. So I know a guy that he showed me some ones the other day. He's using the ultrasonic cleaner as well. Mate, wow. But again, it's one of those eBay jobs. I think they're like a steel one, stainless steel. I think you bought it for a couple of $100 and you can put them in for like 30 minutes. So you don't have to keep going back and keep turning the timer on. It's the only issue with the cheap, shitty ones. You've got to keep turning them on every 7 minutes. You've got to do 7 or 8 runs to get them fully clean. So, you can do that as another method if you want. It's really up to you. But another good one I want to talk about and good for the comments as well. What are you doing? Full length resizing, or are you doing just the shoulder or neck resizing, I should say?
Well, I do the neck resizing because I like mine to be all fire formed to my exact rifle.
Okay. So I've been doing full length resizing now. So I probably could get the other ones. You need to buy have I got one here? No, I don't. So if you buy the Redding in just the standard reloading kit, you only get 2. You only get 2 in there. So you have to buy the extra one if you want the deluxe, or buy the deluxe kit. This is a good one I really like, Aaron. This is my Lee decapper. So I know Aaron doesn't do it this way, but I normally do. I tend to clean first as soon as I get back because I don't want all that shit stuff through my dies. So what I normally come back and do is I just decap the pin. So I decap the brass that I bring back and then put it straight in for a cleaning first. So it doesn't resize, it doesn't do anything. You're just popping that old primer out, chuck them through your cleaner, and then I start the process from there. But I'm sort of going over to Aaron's way a little bit as well, just to do basically resize it first. Drop the primer as well, then do what I got to do, then clean. Some people clean right at the end too, because nothing worse than getting like lube on the case. Everyone's done this when you're trying to get the powder in there and it's sticking on the inside of the case mouth, and you're like, fuck, man, this is just shit,
That's why I use the Hornady one-shot spray lube. I talk to a lot of reloaders because I always because that's like anything, you're always learning, and there's nothing wrong with trying new things. And they all say the Hornady one-shot lube and the spray can, never a problem. And I don't really get it stuck in there because it seems to evaporate by the time I'm ready to reload.
But remember too, a lot of that, when the Hornady one shot, where people actually get that wrong is they just spray it straight away, right? And they start using it straight away. But it's apparently, of what I've heard, you've actually, if you're going to do it, you've got to let it meld onto the brass for about half an hour, and apparently becomes like a wax. So that's where people are going wrong when they're just spraying it straight. So yeah, some people have success and never have an issue, but there's also apparently a lot of people that have put them in there, they're getting cases stuck because when they spray it on, they're not waiting half an hour for that to settle and to form like a waxy style thing. So once they do that, apparently a lot of people don't have a problem. So if you're going wrong with Hornady one shot, that's probably where you're going wrong.
Yeah, yep. No, that's a good point. I actually did not know that, to be honest with you, that you're meant to leave it that long.
Yeah,
maybe I should read the instructions.
Yeah, it's like, it might be 15 minutes. I can't remember, but most people say just leave it on for an hour. Most people even put them in like a tray, and they'll come across like top, sides, other side, and then from the top, and then from the side, and then that one, and then down each row. It gets on your little case that holds your brass. But what do? But yeah, leave it on there. Leave it on for an hour. Come back and then do it. So maybe do it another day or something like that, or just do it in the morning and then come back and reload in the afternoon, or whatever.
Yeah, I put them in a tub, like a little steel tub I got. Spray a ton in there and sort of mix it around. Other people put them in a Ziploc bag, sandwich bag, and use the same bag and just spray it inside there and then roll it around. But what system do you guys use? I resize, pop the primer and resize, then I wash them. So I don't use lube again, so I'm not getting any problems with lube after that because the washing takes it all off, and I've had no problems with resizing and then putting it in the tumbler.
Yeah, and some of the guys here says, GK says, got to use Imperial dry neck lube if neck sizing only, Jason. Have to wait for the alcohol to flash off using one shot, at least a minute for it to flash off. Yeah, he's saying a minute. I thought it was 15 maybe when I saw it, but yeah, you could be right, man. But yeah, I know a lot of guys saying leave it for 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, just for that, that stuff to flash off. I was going to say flashing off, but yeah, you corrected me, which is good. And a lot of people, you're also using the graphite powder for neck lube as well. Yep, I've done that as well. Good. If you're initially doing it straight away, if you're only neck resizing, that's what I used to do. Just dip them in, bang, straight under, perfect, because that's the problem when you got your expander ball. If you don't lube inside the neck, sometimes that can get caught, man, and you don't want to get caught with with the brass pulls off, your brass holder. That's the worst thing that can happen. And you won't be able to get the bastard out because the bra on the bottom, the brass is pulled out and you've pulled out of your shell holder. So you've got to watch out a lot of things, man. Sometimes I even used to get, like if I get a bit of lube on my thumb, what I do, say that's the shell, I normally just rub it over the top. So anything that's sitting on my thumb goes in, I rub it across the top of the case, and then it goes actually inside the neck. So when the expander ball goes down, it doesn't actually get caught. I mean, shit, I think most of us probably watching here have got a piece of brass stuck in our reloading dies at some stage. I know I have.
Yeah, I've heard this before, Dave, as well. Stay away from full-length dies, expandables for the best accuracy and extended brass life. I've heard that as well. And I'm a firm believer in fire your bullets to fire form inside your chamber for your exact gun. That's what I've found is to be the best one. That's for sure.
I wonder if you guys are getting, let us know in the comments, are you getting better accuracy from just, in your gun? Let us know, because if that's the case, I might even see if I can go back to maybe doing a bit of neck resizing again.
Yeah, well, here's a good system: decap, clean, resize, trim, prime, load, seat. That's from GK. I trim before I clean, so I normally resize and deprime and resize and trim before I clean, because then any filings are all gone. Yeah. So go buy the world's best trimmer, guys.
Some people say it depends on when you. Actually, I've just gone blank on what I was actually going to say there. Go again. I was just reading his decap clean. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Cleaning, whether some people will, resize, they'll trim, they'll do all they got to do. And then to get all the lube and everything off before they start loading, that's when they'll clean. But some people say, oh, no, you've got stainless steel pins and the things hitting each other. But, I've just never had any issue doing that. So if you do a final clean, it just makes everything good. You not have got lube lying around inside the case anywhere. I think it works well.
Yep. I clean after I do everything, and then when I come to reload, actually top up with the powder and press the projectile in, everything's nice and clean. There's no lube, there's no muck anywhere to spread it through your chamber as well, I find. But a lot of people are coming up with their own sort of system as well, which is good. And here's another one: anybody annealing. Well, I've never annealed. I've never really seen the point of it myself. I know a lot of people absolutely swear by it, but I don't, never have, and I don't think I ever will, because A, the machines cost a fortune, and B, I just think it's a bit of a waste of time. But I'm sure other people really do like it.
I think the necks and that, they get stiff, and that's where they start breaking, whereas annealing keeps the brass soft. So I think it's definitely absolutely got its place. I mean, if I could, but I'm trying to, hey, if anyone's out there, here you go. I want an annealer. And I know some of you bastards out there are like MacGyver, and you've made them yourself. Now, I've got my propane torch. So if you can make me one, I'll pay you to do it. So if any of you guys can help me make, because I know some of these guys on Instagram, I've seen them, I'm pretty tech savvy, but there's a lot of parts involved, and I'm probably not that tech savvy to make some whole annealing machine. So if you can do it, I'll pay you to do it. Get back to me. Email me, AustralianHuntingPodcast@gmail.com.
I'd like to know some plans. I love building stuff, as you know. I love working my hand, building and renovating and all that sort of stuff. So I might try and build one if I can find some plans. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Okay, another thing, guys, tell us, have you guys had any problems with nickel-plated brass reloading? The main ones that have ever gotten stuck has been, in my dies, have been nickel-plated. So tell us, do you use it? I don't use it anymore. I got a ton of it when I was shooting some 3006 Browning ammunition that was all nickel-plated, and I had about 4 or 5 of them stuck in my dies. Never again will I ever go near a nickel-plated nickel-plated case. So have you guys had any problems with nickel-plated, or know anyone that has?
Good. I personally haven't done that, but I wanted to bring up this one too. GK says F-class, they only full length size, each to their own which way to go. So that's what I mean. Is there really a benefit to just neck sizing? Is there really? Does it, except for brass life, is there a better on accuracy? Let us know if you're an experienced reloader, whether you think there's much difference in neck resizing versus full resizing for accuracy, not for brass life, because I'd only consider doing it if there was a benefit for accuracy benefits.
Well, I reckon because it'll fire form into your exact size of your chamber, and there'll be absolutely zero movement or even a fraction of a movement. But I have found with the PRC, because the tolerances on that custom action, the ultimatum, are so tight that it actually can get stuck cases in it because that tight. If I haven't cleaned the cases too well, because doing my load development, I'm not cleaning them through the wet tumbler, because I just come home, I just put some lube on them and I repress them again, get a few more loads and get them out the door onto the range. And I'm finding with even a little bit of oil on it, they're getting stuck through suction. The tolerances are so tight. Here we got one from JR, another super chat. Thank you so much. The super chats always seem to come at the end of the show, don't they? Good night, guys. Early start this morning. I learned a lot tonight. See you same time next week. Thank you so much, JR. Awesome guy, good regular guy for donating to the show. He really does help the show out a lot.
Yeah, mate. I reckon we could probably do in a couple of weeks again, maybe a bit down the track, and maybe a month or so, do like a part 2 or something, because there's just so much to talk about, and it's 8:35 already. Man, it's been crazy. It goes so quick now.
It does, and yes, we have talked about this, guys. At Christmas time, we'll do a Christmas special, maybe when we're on holidays, and if Jason makes it up to Queensland, we can do one together down in the gun room. And we can probably do a longer one as well. Everyone's saying make them longer, but Thursday nights, yeah, it does. We all got work in the morning and that sort of thing. But they were just talking about the daylight saving is coming up, so we're going to have to sort something out there. It's going to be a little bit of a time difference, maybe by half an hour or something. Because we can't start too early, because here in Queensland, if people will still be driving home. So we'll sort something out. It'll be a little bit of a time difference.
I did see, and David said he did see, where is it? I'm trying to find. Yeah, a kneeling machine equals a socket bit and a cordless drill. I've seen them put the socket with the brass in the socket and then use their probe, just, obviously turn the case at a slow level and sort of it's the poor man's way to do it. But hey, if it works, it's just, you don't want to ruin the brass on some of these expensive, like 260, and it's $90-something for 50 rounds, as you know.
Try almost 400 for the 300 rum for a pack of 50.
Fuck that.
No, these are the Norma, which are fantastic brass.
That's why I didn't get a rum. Now you know.
Tight ass. Okay, Chris Miller, thank you very much, Chris, for the $7.99 super chat. I'll be getting a Hornady lock and load set, which are really good. Start reloading. I have 300 rounds of OSA to send down the range first. I'm assuming that'd be his new 6.5 Creedmoor. He bought a 105.
He's a lucky bastard, Chris, mate. He looks out his window and he's staring at deer through his binoculars. That bastard, geez, he's lucky.
I wouldn't even go to work. I could have, if I owned big property, I just don't think I could get motivated to go to work each day. I really couldn't. What else do we have here? Any other questions? We've got so many, guys. It's really hard to pick them out. A lot of them you're talking amongst yourself as well and helping each other out, which is good, because that's what we want. We want you guys helping each other out. And it's been really good lately. We got rid of a lot of the dickheads off here, and there's no fighting or really any trolls, which is good. Everyone here is to help each other out with ideas and tips as well. So it's been fantastic.
And maybe ask them too, what do you guys think for next week? What's some topics? Aaron's ringing me all the time. What do you think? What do you think? And I'm like, mate, there's so much to talk about, but then you get bogged down with not knowing what to talk about. So we want to talk about what you guys want to talk about, which we're happy to talk about as well. So let us know in the comments before we finish. And I'm on the YouTube link now, so let us know what you guys think. What do you want to talk about next week? What are some shows? What are some topics that you want to hear about? Because that's ultimately makes a difference. You guys tuning in all the time to the show, and mate, we're getting crazy numbers on these live streams, which we never thought was going to happen.
No, do you guys like our big rants we do? Like even our rant videos, separate videos we make about topics? Do you like them when we talk for about 10 minutes on a certain article like we used to do? We haven't done one for quite a while. Our last one got 20,000 views. in about a month. So do you like that when we just have our unfiltered sort of talk? And like last week's one about the police or the band, do you like those sorts of videos as well? Or because we were trying to mix all this up so we don't just be repetitive on I was trying to get a whole variety of stuff, political and our opinions. But yeah, well, I did get blamed last week, actually, Jason, as you know, about our show on the police. A guy, he's not a bad guy. He's made some very good comments, and he's quite a nice guy. But he said, sent me a big long email saying how us talking about, or basically pointing a finger at me, we're talking about how bad the police have been lately, and especially last week's live stream, that I are turning off young people going to the police force, to the police academy, because I'm pointing out all their wrongdoings and everything they're doing bad, and I'm actually not kids may be listening to this and not wanting to become police officers, which I think is fantastic. Because I said to him, I said I'd much rather see young people get into a trade or a good, honest living that you can be proud of and do good in the community. So I thought, yeah, that was good. I really hope I am turning them off and they go get a trade or something like that, which I'm a firm believer in. So it's quite funny some of the comments we get after our shows from people.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people are talking about here just quickly. I mean, something about cast bullets, just some ideas. Queensland election, another one, a really good one. And maybe this is a good one for next week. Fantastic one from Steve Balakas, if I got Balakas, if I got it correctly. Hunting ethics. There you go. I reckon that'd be a very interesting one. A lot of different. I mean, people don't even like that, like as me and Aaron have discussed. I mean, on the YouTube, I was shooting the rabbits and, and they're sort of expanding and, I mean, you get the drift, and you shouldn't be showing that, and that's not what it's all about. And I said, well, mate, we're doing a job for the farmers. I mean, we hunt. This is pest control. It's not just hunting deer or goats or this, it's all types of hunting. I mean, again, I put a post on Instagram probably, and this was to weed out a few of the dickheads, actually. Like I had to do some bird control for one of the farmers, and that was galahs. Galahs, the pet, the home pet, the pink and grey galahs. My dad used to own birds, and he didn't like it. And I said, mate, at the end of the day, and I had a picture of all the galahs, and people, mate, but only two guys out of thousands that follow me on Instagram were getting upset. One guy even made a whole story about me, called me a fuckwit, and I'm a dirtbag. And I said, mate, it's not about deer hunting and goats, mate. It's about sometimes pest control, about doing what's legal. And that was legal in the Riverina, west of the Great Dividing Range. You can shoot galahs, you can shoot crows, you can shoot sulphur-crested cockatoos. I know some people don't want to do that, man, but at the end of the day, mate, if I'm on a farmer's property and that's what he's telling me to do and I've got to help him out, that's what you do, mate. You don't disrespect the farmer by, trying to, when you're there to do a job and you're not going to do what you're asked to do. Obviously you don't do anything illegal, but this is fully legal. So, I mean, I did that on purpose to weed out a few of the dickheads, and I found a few of them and banned them and tossed them because I want to see people that are really interested in pest control, hunting. There's more different types of hunting and pest control that you can do. It's not just deer and goats. A lot of people only want to hunt certain types of species, and sometimes these are the same idiots that don't like hunting overseas in Africa. Oh, you can't shoot this, you can't shoot that. They've got no idea about conservation. It's about hunting their goats on their property that they go once a month to. Come on, guys, really. I mean, most of the people are good and realize that, yeah, they might not want to do that. I don't really want to go shoot a lion in South Africa, but I 100% support people that want to do that because I know conservation's important. And I can't afford to hunt overseas. Damn it. If I could, I probably would do it if I could afford 30 grand, but, I can't. So at the end of the day, I'd rather go do some fox hunting, some rabbit blasting, some long range shooting, and it's all going to be a bit cheaper than going overseas. But yeah, one day I'll get overseas. But anyway, good shit, man. Good show. Hunting ethics, anything. I'm just going to see if I can find on Decker Heck says any good recipes for galahs. Mate, I didn't use them for eating, unfortunately. But I tell you what, though, galahs definitely friggin' decoy to a decoy. That's for sure. Like when we got the ducks in the water, they just fly straight over, mate. They didn't care. But at the end of the day, mate, there's all different types of shooting, and we should all be supporting each other. But yeah, people saying New Zealand and Queensland election. I'm just reading a few, mate, down the bottom here. Conservation hunting, yeah, good stuff there too. Dynamite says pest control is different to hunting. Yeah, that's true, man. It's, sometimes you got to do what you got to do for the farmer asking you. So, yeah, hunting ethics is definitely a good one. Caliber selection and maximum shooting range. Yeah, all good ones, man. I reckon next week maybe we'll do that. Hunting ethics, and I reckon it's a good one, man.
Yep, we'll do that. And I want to thank Lockie for his comment and his $10 super chat. Best thing about the show is down to earth, no bullshit, and you're not afraid to tell it like it is. Yep, we will not be PC on the show. I said it from day one years ago when I started. I will not be PC or hold my tongue. I'm lucky I work for myself, guys, and I got no boss to sack me because of my opinion. So I'm really lucky, really lucky. And I can say it because I've got a job where I can upset my bosses or anything. So it's one good thing about that.
Yeah, Aussie capitalists, different calibers, mate. Yeah.
Caliber wars always do well. We'll definitely get a bit more into the calibers because that's the sort of stuff I really like as well.
Yeah,
but yeah,
suppressors, mate. All good ones coming up. We'll write a few of those down, and yeah, mate. Because again, most of it's just a Q&A as well, so we can start off with that. And you never know. Maybe if we haven't got enough for one particular topic, we can do two small topics for a show. But anyway, good shit.
Yeah, Robert, licensing is a good one. Always controversial, that one.
Yeah.
We'll definitely wrap this up, and I want to thank everyone, and I want to thank and so does Jason, everyone who has signed up to our Patreon over the last couple of weeks from watching the shows. Thank you very much for that. We've had a few new Patreons, and as we always say, the super chats really helped go towards making the actual shooting videos I make, and the Patreons help that as well, and goes towards Jason's equipment for his podcast, which is not cheap. So I'd just like to thank all of you Patreons. You really have helped us out, and the super chat guys. You guys are awesome.
The 243 guys are out in force again. 243. Long live 243.
300 rum over that 243 garbage any day. Nothing like loading a bit of artillery into your gun.
243. Long live 243, guys.
Oh, I feel sick. Andy's just saved us. He's made me feel better. 14.99. Thank you very much, Andy. 1 2 3 4 777. I'll check in or click in what chuck in, I guess, what I can do to keep you going. Thanks, fellas. Keeping us in Victoria somewhat sane. Yes, I still feel really sorry for you Victorians. As I said, guys, come on up and move your families up to Queensland once you get out of Victoria, once the Victoria lockdowns are finished. So I've had a few emails from people saying as soon as the lockdown's over, they're looking at moving to Queensland and getting out of Victoria once and for all. So please come up.
101 because we're going to jump do something else. But, mate, one guy says Trump 2020. Yes, no way fucking let that old coot Biden in. So anyway, good show. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in. You guys are legends. Go.
Oh, yes, right. Yep. Thanks a lot, guys. Yep, you're really awesome. And watch out for over the weekend. There'll be another review coming out. I'll probably do the review on my case trimmer since I've talked it up. So I will definitely probably put that out. So thank you so much for everything this week. And it is fantastic to see the regulars and the new guys this week, which is fantastic to see. So have a safe week. Have a great weekend. And I all hope you get to the range and have some fun in your chosen sport. So talk to you in 7 days. Catch you later.